Again, welcome to CS 102, Computer Programming Using Java. This lab will cover Chapter 4 of our course textbook. That's Writing Classes, Object-Oriented Programming. Our main objective, again, is to continue learning how to write, again, user-defined classes in Java language. So in this lab work, we are going to solve two problems using classes. Our first problem said we should use the die class, which was defined in Chapter 4 of our course textbook. We went through this example in class. Then using the die class, we are going to write a class named Pair of Dice and composed of two die objects. We are going to include methods to set and get the individual die values, also a method to roll the dice, and also a method that returns the current sum of the two die values. Then we are going to create a driver class called the rolling dice to instantiate and also use a pair of dice object. So first we have our die.java, which will be our die class. So we start with the public class and the name of the class is die. Here we declare a constant variable named mass. This is not the instance variable. We are going to use this variable again because we know a die consists of 6 sides. So we're going to use it to write the concept expression when we are using the random method. So our main instant variable is the face value. We know a die has 6 sides, but when we roll it, only one side will show. So we call it the face value, which is the current value showing on the die. Then we have a constructor. This is a default constructor to initialize our die when we create it. So when we create a new die object, the face value will be 1. Then we have the method to roll the die. This method will roll a die and we should randomly get a value between 1 to, again, 6. Now here we are using the random method, which is inside the math class. And it will randomly give us a value, because a value between 1 to 6, because we multiply by 6. Normally the value will start from 0 to 5. So we add 1 to it. So it will be from 1 to 6. So when again we roll the die, we're randomly going to get any value between 1 to 6. Then we'll return the value to the method. Next, we have the set face value. So the set face value method will return, it will set the value of the face value instant variable. So the argument is value. So whatever value we pass in the argument of set face value method, it will again assign that value to the instant variable named face value. Then we have our accessor, or sometimes called the getters. And this will return the face value. It's called the get face value. It will return the face value. Then we have again a special method to string that will again return the string representation of the die object. So next we have our class name pair of dice. So we start with the public class pair of dice. Now in this class, always we are going to have 2 pairs of dice. So we declare private die 1 and die 2. So the instant variable will be die 1 and die 2. So this is why the question said we are going to use the die class in a pair of dice, because now die 1 will have face value. So we are not using the face value instant variables for die 1 and die 2. We are going to use the one from the pair again, from the die class. So here we have our constructor, pair of dice. It will initialize 2 constructors. Now you can see that here we are calling the die constructor. A die constructor is in the die class, the previous class we went through. So we are using the die class in the pair of dice class to initialize our 2 objects, die 1 and die 2. So when we roll the die, again here we have a new method because we're going to roll 2 dice at a time. So we have roll die 1.roll, but the roll method is inside our, again, the die class. So we have die1.row plus die2.row. So this will add again the two dies that row. But the row method again is in the die class. Then we have a method name to get the total face value. So we are going to add the two face values. So we have die1.get face value plus die2.get face value. Then next we have the getters to get the die1 face value. We return die1 face value. When we get die2 face value, we return die2 face value. Then we have our special method to string. So here we can see that this class, which is called the pair of dies, is using again the constructor from die class. Let's go back. This is our die class, our constructor die, and also it's using the row method. So we can see here the pair of dies, we call the die constructor twice, and also to the row method in the pair of dies, it calls the row method in, again, the die class. So next we are going to our main method. So this is our main class name, rolling dice 2. And that consists of our main method. So the first thing we do is to create the object for pair. So when we create an object, dice, which we are using the class pair of dice, it's going to create 2 dice at a time. It's going to create 2 dice. So the first thing we do here is to print the content. Now in the constructor, we have 1. When we create a new dice and we use the default constructor die to initialize the face values to 1. So next we roll the die, and this one we are not sure what to be the output because we are using a random class. So when we roll the die, again, whatever comes, the values will be between 1 to 6, and we have 2 dice at a time. So here we're going to print the face value, the output, then we print the total. So in order to print the total of the 2 dice face values, we need to call the get total face value method. Then after we print, we roll the die 1 more time, then we print the output again. So next we are going to write a class name book that contains the instant data for the book title, the author of the book, the publisher, and also the copyright date. So the book has 4 instance variables. Then next we define the book constructor to accept and also initialize this data. It's going to initialize all the 4 instant variables. Then we are going to include the setters. Again, the setters is the mutators. We can use the setters method to set the instant variables data. Then also the getters method to return the instant variables data. Then we're also going to include the toString. As we said, the toString normally gives us the string representation of the object we create. And it's only called when the system.out.println is called. So it will return a nicely formatted multi-line description of the book. Then we're going to create a driver class called the bookshelf. And the driver class consists of the main method. So in the main method, again, we are going to create our objects. Here, they didn't tell us how many objects to create, so it's up to us. So again, here, we start with the class book, so public class book. Again, we have 4 instant variables, the title, the author, and also the publisher. The data type is string. Then the int will be the copyright. Then next we set up this book object with the specified data. So this is our constructor with, again, arguments. So we are going to set all the 4 arguments. We assign all the 4 elements to the instant variables, title, author, publisher, copyright. Next, we start with the accessors. So the first one is to get the title. So we return a string data type. Then we need to get the author also. It's a string data type, so we return the author. Then the publisher, get the publisher, we return the publisher. Then get the copyright, the data type is int, so we return the copyright. Then we get the mutators. We set the title. The argument will be the title we are going to set to the object. Then we also set the author. So it will be author update. We set it to the instant variable. Then we also set the publishers. So we have, again, string publisher update, and we assign it to the publisher, which is the instant variables. Then next we set the copyright. So we assign the copyright update to the instant variable copyright. Then our toString method, and this is with the format, the title, the author, the publisher, and the copyright. And we can see that we are using \n, which means the title, author, publisher, copyright will be printed in different lines. So now let's go to our main method. So in our main method here, so our main class name is Bookshelf. So the file name will be called the bookshelf.java. So our main method here, we create 3 objects. So we have book B1, B2, B3. Now, since our constructor is a full constructor with the parameters, we set the name, the author, the publisher, and the year. Same thing, the book 2, we have a name, the publisher, the name, the author, the publisher, and the year. The name, the author, the publisher, and the year. Now, if our constructor, the publisher variable comes first, we have to start with that first. So you have to be in order, same as the constructor in the class. So that will be the conclusion of these lectures, the lab work. So here we're just going to print the output for B1, B2, B3. So the output will be Java software. First we start with the title, Java software solution. Then we go to a new line. The author, Lewis and Loftus, new line. Then the publisher, Percy, then new line, then copyright 2016. The reason why, because the output format is the same as the toString. So the title, we have the title, then the \n new line, then print each item will be in a new line. So that will be the conclusion of these lectures, and hope to see everybody in class soon. Thank you.